Hello and welcome. I'm Christine from Coming Home, helping you to survive and thrive in your homeschooling. In this, the first podcast, I'll outline what my hopes and purposes are for this venture. Whether you're new to homeschooling, been living the lifestyle for a while, or just thinking about it, I plan for this to be a place for ideas, refreshment and reassurance. I will interview veteran homeschoolers and tap into their experience to give both confidence and to help you with decisions of what is important and what may not be. There will be questions welcomed and answered for you to consider, and homeschool adults will be included in the efforts to glean whatever encouragement and cautions they have to offer from their homeschooling years. I hope to read aloud to your children, review and recommend resources. If the demand comes to write ebooks on the topics we discuss, I will look at that. Should folk want personal consultations, I'll be available for that too. There will be episodes with hints and comments on the general aspects of a homeschooling lifestyle. The interviews will be around 20 to 30 minutes, depending on how the interview goes on the day. Question and answer sessions will be a regular feature, as this podcast is here for your needs. In short, this will be what I wish was available when I was knee-deep amongst books, piles of washing, and thought I was going bonkers. Today we're going to talk about getting started. This section introduces several ideas. I'm going to run through them and tackle each one at a deeper level in other episodes. Please send any questions relating to what we talk about today and anything else you'd like to hear about. Depending on which country you live in, you'll need to know the requirements to withdraw your child or children from the school system and begin homeschooling. In some countries or states, it's as simple as advising of your intentions. In other countries, it's a high legal bar to challenge. In New Zealand, one applies for an exemption by demonstrating in writing of your ability to educate as regularly and as well as a state-registered school. If your child has never attended school when she was 5, you need to apply for and receive your exemption by the time she is 6. 6 is the legal age in New Zealand to begin school, although virtually no child begins school then. I've certainly never come across one. If your child has already started school on her 5th birthday, you need to apply for an exemption even though she's only 5 years old. I'm going to deviate here with a little bit about what to do if your child is stressed at school and you need to start homeschooling before an exemption is granted. This is my opinion and it's a general comment only. There will be more to discuss about this. I'll find someone more knowledgeable than me to interview. So what to do if your child is stressed and needs to leave school before the exemption comes through, and or the school is making leaving difficult in spite of your child's stress. Crying, wetting the bed, or being more aggressive or upset than usual are some signs that school is not going well for her. Or perhaps there is known bullying and it's safer to bring her home rather than waiting for the official exemption document. When you see her teacher or principal, be as diplomatic as possible. You do not want any excuse for education authorities to be called in. In meetings, stick to the facts and stay away from emotions and accusations. Take a support person or a witness with you. Get all decisions and any threats made in writing. She is your child, but the state can and will intervene if they see reason to. This is not to be dramatic. You really want to end school on the best terms you can. May I strongly suggest you do the best thing for her, regardless of any pressure or threats from the school. Your child can be kept home if she is sick. Mental health is just as much health as having a cold or the chicken pox. If necessary, but only necessary, go to your GP, that is your doctor, and have the change in behaviour due to stress recorded and a medical exemption issued to show the school if demanded. Hopefully, it will only take a couple of weeks to get your exemption, depending on the Ministry of Education's workload. If your child has left school under difficult circumstances, you will need a period of time to de-school her. This means You do not launch straight into a formal curriculum, potentially triggering associated circumstances that can be best described as school at home as it was at school. A few weeks off formalities will do her no harm at all. She'll still be learning over this time. Begin with a normal day routine to bring stability. Going to bed and getting up at a reasonable time. She is not on holiday. She has now started homeschooling. A good breakfast, morning chores including making her bed and helping to tidy up. Even if you're still in your deschooling period, it's important to stick to a routine. She may not be using workbooks at the moment, but you can read to her or she can read by herself. You can choose books from a recommended reading list. I'll do a separate episode on how to choose a good book. If she's stressed and not coping since finishing at her school, start with reading to her only. She can join you in your household chores. Sure, it will take a bit longer, but she's with you, doing something constructive and learning at the same time. She will also need time to be by herself, perhaps drawing or reading. All right, a suggested routine. I'm going to tell you what we adopted as our general routine. Here were our important times. 9 a.m, 10, 11:30, 12 o'clock, 1 p.m, 3, then there would be some pre-dinner chores later on in the afternoon and a bath for the little ones. 5:30, dinner time, cleaning up, dishes, play, bath or shower, TV, chatting and bed between 7 and 8 and later for teens. Everyone gets up at a reasonable time, gets dressed, has breakfast, does the chores, a quick play and ready to start by 9 a.m. We would usually start with some maths, take a short break and read, or draw if they're at a pre-reading age, followed by taking morning tea at 10. At 10:30, some writing could be done. In our house, we always stopped at 11:30 for our read aloud book. The children would play with Lego or do puzzles or draw whilst listening to me read. I shouldn't need to say it, but I'm going to. Absolutely no cell phones during school time. And the same goes for you. Be totally present for your child and children. The phone can wait. We stopped at 12 for lunch. After lunch, have an hour's rest for you and the children. That means quiet activity in their bedroom. It also means a rest for you. It isn't time to catch up on housework or to do a quick bit of business. You need the break. You've got the rest of the day to go yet. Go and lie down or sit down with a cup of tea and an enjoyable book, not a homeschooling book. Tidy up times are before lunch and at the end of the afternoon before Dad gets home. Depending on the age, maths can be done with working out baking measurements, making timer settings and working out what time it will be when baking is ready. Weighing out cups and part cups, teaspoons and tablespoons, using scales are all an important part of maths. There are many maths games and activities on the market. Puzzles are a pursuit of logic and worth investing in. Lego and blocks require strategic thinking. Find a local homeschooling community and begin to socialise and participate in the activities for children whilst you enjoy the company of other homeschooling mums. You can find art, drama, dance classes and sports groups in this community. There are usually homeschool libraries and resources for borrowing too. There is so much ready for you and very little is required of you to design or plan for yourself. This is a boon for the getting started homeschooling family. Leave the spending of your money on expensive curricula for at least a couple of months or so. If you have younger children, that is, age 10 or below, you probably won't need a curriculum at all, unless that's the way you've chosen to homeschool. Textbooks can be bought for the high school student, but until then, it's perfectly possible to homeschool without them. The exception could be maths workbooks. You'll need these from a younger age, but it's up to you when you want her to start on a maths book. Don't spend money on activities or a curriculum until you've sought good advice and been at home for a while. Until you're more sure, use the local library, homeschooling community resources, and what you've got around your home. Use local parks for exercise and art. Go to the beach and explore with the intention of seeing what's there and what's under the rocks. Come home and write and draw it. Take a bushwalk and really look at the different trees and shades of green. These experiences can all be used to educate your child. Remember, the world is your classroom. There is so much to see and learn from, all without spending much at all. Aim for the 3 R's most days: reading, writing and arithmetic, and you've done well. Because there's fewer distractions at home, bookwork can usually be done by lunchtime, leaving the afternoon for field trips, sport, meeting with others, or visiting Nana and Grandad. As I mentioned at the start of this episode, this was a small introduction to getting started, and there is so much more to say, but these are for another time. Until then, enjoy your children. Talk next time.